I'm Matthew Hogg. I'm 52 years old and I live in Hull and work in multimedia and the arts and technology. And I first accessed the Warren way back when I was about 17 and on the dole, and then throughout the next 10 years really, on and off, accessed the Warren until it got a recording studio, and then really got involved for a period of time. Right. So I think that the Warren, when we were developing as young people, gave us all that support, not every single day. We didn't access the service in all the other things that it had as possible things, you know, using the eatery, but the studio was the main thing we were interested in, and the sort of gear that was there. You know, had that been expanded any further, you know, God knows what would have happened, what we would have been able to do. You know, I understand that now there's a recording label here, you know, if only in my day there'd been something like that, and you weren't left to be looking around and trying to seek for that, but there'd been people to actually connect you up with what, a college too, and perhaps other things outside of that, and the industry as well, and people in the industry, and experience things about that would have been an absolute gold mine. You know, not that it wasn't anyway, because we knew what we needed it for. We came in, we used it, we got our materials, we set off, and we were able to do what we were able to do. You couldn't get a gig if you didn't have a tape. You couldn't release a CD if you hadn't made a recording. You couldn't make something back and start growing yourself as a business. So you were small businessmen. Last thing we would have wanted to be called, but that's what we were doing. We were setting up loads of people. We were doing something really useful. We were staying mostly out of trouble, and you know, pursuing something that we all loved. And that's really hard to grasp that, but that was a definite keystone in something happened. The Warren was a keystone in terms of that, and the Warren now has to be a keystone. It's developed beyond there, and it has a massive amount of potential in a much more competitive arena and a much more competitive society in terms of that. So people need some of that edge. It would give a city the edge in terms of that. It would give young people the edge. It would give all of that in terms of people being able to pursue something valid and valuable, especially in terms of the arts and culture, you know, which is left to the wayside so much. But you know, there's already something here. There's already something. You know, all that experience, all the building, the people, what the plans for the future. Without it, you just, you know, it's like taking away a person, isn't it? Take away a person. Nobody likes that. Nobody likes losing somebody. You know, that's a dreadful thing to happen. You know, and you know, it has a personality. It's an organisation that's had thousands of young people go through it, and continues to have young people going through it and developing in that way and finding their feet. You know, the uses of that. You know, we know in society that when you start pulling away bits of support here and there and here and there, what happens is holes appear and people start falling through them, and there are really serious consequences to that. Really serious. We know, proven, factually proven, that when you start to pull things away, all sorts of problems occur for people. And you know, if we're just to mention things like health, mental health and health, you know, people's lifespan reducing because of issues around doing that. You know, how can that be a good thing? How can that be a good thing in any way? And we know that for a fact. You know, the Marmot report, we don't need to, you know, we know it's already been signed up to.